So, I loved the pilot episode of Nos4a2. I really did. I had no qualms about it and no apologies for it. Then I saw the second episode, and damn. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Nerdynomicon. I'm Robbie. I am what's been referred to many times as the film, television, and gaming equivalent to ordering a vanilla pudding at a restaurant and accidentally getting chocolate instead. I guess I just called myself tasty. And you want to know who else is tasty? The pop cultists over at patreon.com/nerdynomicon. The ones keeping the lights on and the camera focused and Adrian from blowing a gasket every other week, man. These are the ones right here on the page, and you can join them. You can join the endless ranks of the undead by going to patreon.com/nerdynomicon. Even $1 a month gives you guys early access to all the videos and all the podcasts that are right here on this channel. The more you pledge, the more rewards there are, and trust me, there's a lot more coming, including merchandise. Woohoo! Merchandise is coming. One love for the Rolls-Royce Wraith, and one love to the pop cultists at patreon.com. Speaking of Rolls-Royce Wraiths, let's get back and talk more about Nos4a2, huh? Today we're going to talk about the second episode, and do not worry, I'm going to keep this spoiler-free for you guys. I'm probably going to not do that again after this week, because there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to discuss. But for the pilot and for this episode, I really want to focus on getting new viewers into this show, because it's absolutely freaking awesome. It's absolutely awesome. For those of you who don't know, who didn't catch last week's episode, Nos4a2 is currently airing on AMC at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on AMC. It is based on a novel by Joe Hill, one of my personal favorite authors, and I didn't realize this until I think I was done with his entire novel collection, up to Fireman, because that wasn't out yet. I didn't realize that Joe Hill is Stephen King's son. And in my personal opinion, and I'm sorry to anybody out there that this may offend, I kind of think he's better. I really do. Because Joe Hill has a unique ability to write very unlikable protagonists. But even though they're unlikable, they're so incredibly compelling. And in the novel, I'm not a huge fan of Vic McQueen, but I cannot stop being obsessed with her journey and the misadventures and what happens to her and her abilities. Now let's jump into the show. Vic McQueen in the show, I don't feel that way about. I actually think that Vic in the show, at least so far, is quite awesome and a very cool, very relatable, very compelling character. In the novels, Vic McQueen and her family are essentially a metaphor for Americana gone wrong. And it definitely shows that even in the show. When you see very white-collar jobs being worked by both her mother and father, something that, if you really think about it, you don't see very often in television outside of sitcoms. And you see a family falling apart. You see alcoholism. You see spousal infidelity. You see abuse on both sides. You see both physical and emotional and mental abuse being inflicted on each other by Vic's parents. And it's very compelling and very interesting, and something that I think needs to be shown more on television, because you really only see that in shows where that's the central focus, or when you have a dysfunctional family in a sitcom. That's pretty much when you see it. But let's get into the show itself. It was creepy as hell. Very, very creepy. When you see some of the imagery right there at the beginning, which I'm going to have on screen right now, it was very unsettling to me. We talked a little bit about Americana gone wrong. What about some of our childhood icons gone wrong, like the Man in the Moon? That's all I'm going to say as far as a spoiler there. Another thing that I want to highlight, because I'm going to try to keep this short, because I know if I don't, I'm going to start spoiling things, and that is not my goal for this episode. Next week, probably, but not this week. I want to talk a little bit more about my girl Sailor J. Okay, yes, I know that's not her real name. Don't at me, bro, but I'm calling her by her YouTube name for at least one more week, out of love and respect for her roots as far as being an entertainer. Maybe she did things before YouTube, I don't know. I'm not her biographer, don't at me again. She's incredible as Maggie Lee. I think that she is absolutely fantastic. I made a comment last week about the noticeable lack of her stuttering It was present this week. I would say that that was probably the only qualm that I had with the acting. It was very brief, it was very short, but it was punctuated and noticeable. And that was right at a very pivotal scene when you start to learn a little bit of the lore about the abilities that certain people in this universe have. And it was a phenomenal scene. Again, it's probably playing on the screen right now in front of you guys. It was very interesting. It was very compelling. Last episode, you basically got to know the characters. You got to meet them, you got to feel a little bit for them, you get to, you know, this is what we're dealing with, let's move on from there. You know, the way a good pilot should. And it started up the plot, sure, you got your central conflict, but this episode 2 is where the exposition came in. We now know our characters, we now know, you know, probably the central conflict that's going to be going forward. This is the episode where you start to care about what's going on, starting in episode 1 and hopefully going directly to the end, because I have no idea how many subplots they're gonna throw at this. This is an AMC show, and as far as I know, it's not a miniseries. Otherwise, you would have met other people probably pretty soon. It would have been set up, and also the plot wouldn't have differed in the ways that it did. But that's beside the point. There's probably going to be more twists and turns and stuff like that, but this is the episode where we begin to care. And the showrunners and all of the actors and actresses, much love to all of them, they nailed it, because I'm totally invested, and I do care. I care about the stakes, I care about the mysteries, I care about the abilities, I care about Maggie Lee. If you had asked me just reading the book, I would have called you crazy if you said, yeah, you'd end up caring about Vic McQueen. I always cared about Vic, but I never liked her. I both care and like Vic McQueen now. Charlie Manx, Zachary Quinto is making him so dark and so menacing, and that haircut, not a fan. I mean, I'm a fan of the show because it's very creepy and unsettling, but damn, dude, damn. Although, the Rolls-Royce Wraith is sexy, I'll give you that. Although, even if I could afford one after reading this book, I'd never buy one. But that is my spoiler-free review and breakdown of episode 2 of Nos4a2. I want so bad to dive into this. I said it last year with Castle Rock recap, and maybe I'm gonna do it this year and go a couple of weeks after the episodes are done, just to kind of firm things up, maybe get some guests on here or something like that, because oh man, I want to gush about this episode. I really do. But spoiler free. We're gonna give you guys spoilers next week. So what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments section down there below. Do not forget to hit that like button. It helps this channel out a lot. And if you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. It's cool. I'll wait. So until next week, guys, stay warm. No, Christmas land.